They say a man dies twice. The first time is when his heart stops beating. The second is when he loses the confidence that comes from feeling strong, capable, and fully alive in his own body. But what if I told you that for millions of men over 60, the earliest warning sign of declining health doesn't begin with chest pain or memory loss. It begins in the blood vessels. And one of the first places those blood vessels begin to struggle is the penis. That feeling of weakness, reduced firmness, numbness, or that strange cramp-like pressure during arousal, it's not just getting older. In many cases, it's your circulatory system sending out an early warning signal. Because long before serious cardiovascular disease shows up, blood flow begins to decline in the body's smallest arteries first, and the penile arteries are among the smallest and most sensitive blood vessels in the male body. Ignore those signs, and you're not just risking your sex life. You may be overlooking one of the earliest indicators of vascular decline happening quietly beneath the surface. I'm Dr. Samra Turajilic, a physician and men's health specialist with more than 30 years of experience helping men restore circulation, improve vascular performance, and regain confidence naturally. And today, I want to share something that every man over 60 deserves to hear. What if the secret to stronger erections, healthier blood flow, and a more responsive body wasn't hidden inside another prescription bottle, but sitting in your refrigerator right now? Most men assume aging is the problem, but modern research tells us something different. In many cases, the real issue is reduced nitric oxide production, chronic inflammation, poor endothelial function, and stiffening blood vessels. And the good news is this: those things can often be improved naturally through targeted nutrition and consistent lifestyle habits. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 scientifically supported foods that help improve circulation, support nitric oxide production, relax blood vessels, and help many men regain stronger, more reliable erections naturally. One of these foods has been shown to improve blood flow within hours of consumption. And when these foods are combined correctly, the effect becomes even more powerful. So if you're a man over 60 who wants to improve blood flow, regain confidence, and support your body naturally, stay with me until the end. Because what I'm about to share could completely change the way you think about erectile health and aging itself. And if this video speaks to you, leave a 1 in the comments below. I read every message personally. Your story may help another man realize he's not alone. Now let's begin with the first food, one of the most powerful natural circulation boosters ever studied, beets. Most people look at beets as just another root vegetable. But from a vascular health perspective, they are one of the most effective foods you can put into the male body after the age of 60. I'll admit, years ago, I underestimated them myself. But after reviewing the research and seeing the results in my own patients, I changed my mind completely. Again and again, I noticed the same pattern. Men who began consuming beets consistently reported stronger morning erections, improved stamina, warmer extremities, and less of that uncomfortable tightness or pressure during intimacy. And there's a very clear scientific reason why. Beets are naturally rich in dietary nitrates. Once consumed, your body converts those nitrates into nitric oxide, one of the most important molecules for healthy circulation. Nitric oxide helps relax and widen blood vessels, allowing blood to move more efficiently through the arteries. And when it comes to erections, blood flow is everything. An erection is not simply a hormonal event, it's a vascular event. Without healthy blood flow, firmness becomes weaker, arousal becomes inconsistent, and sensitivity begins to fade. Unfortunately, after the age of 60, nitric oxide production naturally declines. The inner lining of the blood vessels, known as the endothelium, becomes less efficient. Arteries begin to stiffen. Circulation slows down. And many men begin noticing symptoms they can't quite explain. Weaker erections, delayed arousal, less sensitivity, that dull cramping sensation or pressure in the groin during intimacy. Most men assume it's simply age, but very often it's a circulation problem hiding in plain sight. Beets help support the exact mechanism many aging men are lacking. They improve endothelial function, support oxygen delivery, and help the body restore healthier vascular responsiveness naturally. You don't need complicated supplements or expensive procedures to begin supporting this process. A small glass of beet juice in the morning or roasted beets added to a meal several times a week can begin supporting circulation at the cellular level. This is not magic, it's physiology. When you give the body the raw materials it needs, it often responds in remarkable ways. But what I'm about to share next may surprise you even more, because there's a fruit most men throw away every single day. Without realizing, it contains compounds that work in a way remarkably similar to certain prescription erection medications, only naturally, gently, and without forcing the body into overdrive. And for many men, this next food may help reduce the exact vascular tension responsible for that deep tightness during arousal. Let's talk about watermelon. For years, I thought watermelon was simply a refreshing summer fruit, sweet, hydrating, enjoyable on a hot afternoon. But the deeper I looked into the research surrounding circulation and vascular function, the more I realized this fruit contains something incredibly valuable for men over 60, especially the part most people throw away. I'm talking about the white rind. Inside that pale layer is a powerful amino acid called citrulline. And citrulline plays a critical role in helping the body produce more nitric oxide, the same circulation-supporting compound we discussed earlier with beets. Here's why that matters. As men age, blood vessels gradually lose flexibility. The tiny arteries responsible for delivering blood into penile tissue become narrower and less responsive. That's why many men begin experiencing inconsistent erections, reduced sensitivity, or a strange feeling of tightness and pressure during arousal. In medicine, we often look at erectile dysfunction as a vascular issue first, and watermelon supports the vascular system in a very unique way. Citrulline helps relax and dilate blood vessels naturally. It improves arterial flexibility and supports smoother blood flow throughout the body, including the pelvic region. Some early clinical research has even suggested that citrulline supplementation may improve erection hardness in men with mild erectile dysfunction by enhancing blood vessel function naturally. And unlike certain medications that artificially force blood flow, watermelon works with the body's own physiology. It supports circulation gently, consistently, and naturally. I remember one patient in his late 60s telling me he had started blending watermelon every morning, including part of the rind after learning about its benefits. 2 weeks later, he came back smiling. He said the uncomfortable tightness he used to feel during intimacy had started fading. His morning erections were returning, and perhaps most importantly, he felt hopeful again. That matters more than most people realize. Because for many men, erectile decline isn't just physical. It affects confidence, identity, emotional connection, and self-esteem. And sometimes the body doesn't need another harsh intervention. Sometimes it needs support. Watermelon provides hydration, antioxidants like lycopene, and circulation-supporting compounds that help nourish the vascular system instead of simply overriding it temporarily. If you decide to try it, don't just eat the red center. Blend some of the white rind into a smoothie as well. That's where much of the citrulline is concentrated. Now, the next food I want to share with you is different. It's not a fruit, it's not a vegetable, it's something small, overlooked, and often discarded without a second thought. But from a hormonal and vascular perspective, it may be one of the most important foods for aging men. Because this next food contains key minerals directly involved in testosterone production, blood vessel relaxation, and nitric oxide support. Let's talk about pumpkin seeds. 3. Pumpkin seeds, the mineral powerhouse for male performance. If there's one food I wish more men over 60 understood, it's pumpkin seeds. They may look small and insignificant, but nutritionally, they are incredibly dense. In fact, I consider them one of the most underrated foods for men dealing with declining circulation, reduced erection quality, and loss of vitality. Why? Because pumpkin seeds contain 3 critical nutrients that aging men are commonly deficient in: magnesium, zinc, and arginine. Let's break that down. Magnesium plays a major role in relaxing blood vessels and supporting healthy muscle function. Low magnesium levels have been associated with increased vascular stiffness, elevated blood pressure, and poor circulation. For some men, that feeling of tension or cramping during arousal may partially relate to vascular constriction and muscular tightness in the pelvic region. Magnesium helps the body relax. Zinc is equally important. It's one of the most essential minerals involved in testosterone production, immune function, and tissue repair. And after the age of 60, testosterone levels naturally decline in many men. When zinc intake is consistently low, that decline may become even more noticeable. Then there's arginine, an amino acid that acts as a precursor to nitric oxide. In simple terms, arginine helps the body create the very molecule needed for healthy blood vessel dilation and erectile performance. This is why pumpkin seeds are so powerful. They don't target just one pathway. They support multiple systems involved in male sexual health at the same time. I once worked with a retired Air Force veteran in his 70s. Extremely disciplined man, sharp mind, healthy overall, but he kept describing this persistent pressure and lack of responsiveness during intimacy. Not pain exactly, more like his body wasn't cooperating the way it used to. I encouraged him to start adding a handful of raw pumpkin seeds into his daily routine. Nothing dramatic, just consistency. A few weeks later, he told me something interesting. The tension had eased, his energy improved, morning erections had started returning more consistently. But what stood out most was what he said next. I finally feel connected to my body again. That's important, because sexual health is not separate from overall health. It reflects circulation, hormone balance, nerve function, emotional well-being, sleep quality, metabolic health, and cardiovascular integrity all working together. Pumpkin seeds are easy to incorporate into daily life. Add them to oatmeal, blend them into smoothies, sprinkle them over yogurt or salads, or simply eat them plain. Small habits repeated consistently create meaningful biological change over time. Now here's where things become really interesting. Most people think of these foods individually. But when you combine them strategically, something powerful happens. You create what I call a circulation synergy effect. And this combination may support blood flow far more effectively than any single food alone. Let's talk about why these three foods work so well together. One healthy food on its own can certainly help. But when multiple foods support the same biological system from different angles, the results often become far more powerful. That's exactly what happens when you combine beets, watermelon, and pumpkin seeds consistently. Together, they create what I call the circulation trifecta. Three natural foods working in synergy to support blood flow, vascular flexibility, nitric oxide production, and hormonal health simultaneously. Beets help initiate the process by increasing nitric oxide availability and improving endothelial function, allowing blood vessels to open more efficiently. Watermelon builds on that effect through citrulline, supporting smoother arterial relaxation and improving blood flow dynamics throughout the pelvic region. And pumpkin seeds provide the foundational nutrients that keep the entire system functioning properly, including magnesium for vascular relaxation, zinc for testosterone support, and arginine for additional nitric oxide production. In other words, one opens the pathway, one improves flow, and one helps sustain the system. This is how real physiology works. The body responds best when multiple systems are supported together instead of targeting only one symptom. I've seen men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s experience meaningful improvements simply by becoming consistent with this nutritional approach. Better morning erections, improved sensitivity, greater stamina, more confidence, more energy, and perhaps most importantly, less fear. Because many men silently worry that once sexual decline begins, there's no turning things around. But the body is far more adaptable than most people realize. The human vascular system is constantly responding to the environment you create through nutrition, movement, sleep, stress management, and daily habits. The goal is not perfection. The goal is consistency. Now, you may be wondering how to actually put all of this into practice. What's the best time to consume these foods? Should you combine them? How much should you take? And what simple habits can enhance their effects even further? That's exactly what I'm going to show you next. 5. The number one mistake most men make after 60. After decades of working with older men, I've learned something important. Most men are searching for a quick fix. They want something fast, something immediate, something that makes the problem disappear without requiring them to change anything else. And honestly, I understand why. When your body stops responding the way it once did, frustration builds quickly, confidence drops, anxiety increases, and in that emotional state, almost any promise of rapid improvement becomes tempting. But here's the truth. The biggest mistake men over 60 make is expecting medications alone to fix a problem rooted in circulation, inflammation, metabolic health, and vascular aging. Medications like sildenafil or tadalafil can absolutely help certain men temporarily by increasing blood flow chemically, but they do not repair damaged blood vessels. They do not restore endothelial health. They do not correct nutritional deficiencies, improve cardiovascular conditioning, or reverse years of poor circulation. And over time, many men notice the same pattern. The effects become less reliable. Higher doses are needed. Side effects increase. Confidence becomes dependent on the pill itself. I've had countless men sit across from me saying the same thing. Doctor, it worked at first, but now it feels like my body isn't responding anymore. And my answer is often this: your body is not failing you. Your body is asking for support. Because erections are not created by pills alone. They are created by healthy arteries, responsive nerves, balanced hormones, proper circulation, quality sleep, physical activity, reduced inflammation, and a healthy cardiovascular system. That's why real nourishment matters. The foods we discuss today are not designed to trick the body temporarily. They help support the biological systems responsible for healthy function in the first place. And the men who experience the greatest long-term improvements are rarely the men chasing shortcuts. They are the men who commit to consistent daily habits. They nourish the body instead of fighting against it. Now that you understand the science behind these foods, let me show you how to put everything together into a simple daily routine that's realistic, sustainable, and easy to follow. 6. Your 7-day action plan. One of the biggest reasons men fail to improve their health isn't lack of motivation, it's lack of simplicity. When a plan feels complicated, most people never begin. That's why I created a straightforward 7-day framework designed to help support circulation naturally without overwhelm. Simple, practical, sustainable. In the morning, start your day with a small glass of beet juice on an empty stomach. This helps stimulate nitric oxide production early in the day and supports healthier vascular responsiveness. You don't need a large amount. Even moderate intake appears beneficial according to research on dietary nitrates and endothelial function. Mid-morning, prepare a watermelon smoothie using both the red flesh and some of the white rind. This provides hydration, antioxidants, and citrulline to support smoother blood vessel relaxation throughout the day. If you want additional metabolic support, you can also add a few berries for extra polyphenols and antioxidant protection. Later in the afternoon, eat a small handful of raw, unsalted pumpkin seeds. Think of these as nutritional support for the vascular and hormonal systems working quietly behind the scenes. And throughout the day, focus on the fundamentals many men overlook: hydration, movement, sleep, stress reduction. Even a simple 20-minute daily walk has been shown to improve circulation and endothelial health over time. Remember, the body thrives on rhythm and consistency, not extremes. You do not need to become perfect overnight. You simply need to begin. And something remarkable happens when men start taking care of themselves consistently. They stop feeling helpless. They start feeling capable again. Now, before we finish, there's one final message I want every man watching this to hear carefully, because this journey is about much more than erections. It's about reclaiming ownership over your health, your confidence, and the next chapter of your life. 7. Final doctor's message. If you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, I want you to understand something deeply. You are not broken, you are not weak, and you are not too old to improve your health. One of the most damaging lies many men accept is the idea that decline is automatic, irreversible, and something they're simply supposed to tolerate silently. I don't believe that. Yes, aging changes the body, but aging does not mean surrendering your vitality, confidence, intimacy, or sense of self. I've watched men completely transform their health after deciding to stop treating decline as inevitable and start supporting their body intentionally. And often, the transformation begins with something surprisingly simple: better circulation, better nutrition, better habits, better self-respect. Because when a man starts taking care of his body again, something shifts psychologically as well. Hope returns, confidence returns, motivation returns. For many men, the loss of sexual vitality becomes a silent emotional burden they never speak about openly. It affects relationships, self-image, and emotional connection in ways most people never fully understand. And that's why this matters. Not because masculinity is defined by performance, but because feeling alive in your own body matters. Feeling connected matters. Feeling confident matters. your body still has the ability to respond, adapt, heal, and improve. Even now, blood vessels can become healthier, circulation can improve, energy can return, function can improve dramatically when the body receives consistent support. But it starts with one decision, the decision to stop giving up on yourself. 8. Conclusion. This is where it begins. If you've stayed with me until this point, I want to thank you. Not just for watching this video, but for choosing to invest your attention into your health instead of ignoring the warning signs. That alone says something important about you. Today, we talked about how beets support nitric oxide production and vascular function, how watermelon, especially the rind, supports circulation through citrulline and arterial relaxation, and how pumpkin seeds provide critical nutrients that support testosterone, blood vessel health, and nitric oxide production naturally. But this video was never really just about food. It was about possibility. The possibility that your body may still be far more capable of recovery than you've been led to believe. The possibility that stronger circulation, improved intimacy, and renewed confidence are still within reach. And most importantly, the possibility that this next chapter of life does not have to be defined by decline. I've seen men regain morning erections after years without them. I've seen marriages improve. I've seen confidence return. I've seen men begin taking care of themselves again after believing it was too late. And no, this is not about turning back the clock. It's about moving forward intelligently, with knowledge, with intention, and with habits that support the body instead of draining it. There is no expiration date on feeling strong, connected, and alive in your own body. So take what you learned today and begin. Start small, be consistent, listen to your body, and give yourself permission to believe improvement is still possible. Because this is not the end of your story. For many men, this is the moment the rebuilding finally begins. You still have strength left to reclaim. Now go reclaim it. And if this video helped you in any way, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. I read every message, and your story could encourage another man to take control of his health before it's too late. Thank you for being here, and thank you for choosing to show up for yourself.